What cartoon character can you most relate to? And if you could pick any cartoon universe to live in, which would you choose?
Oh, that's great. I cannot wait to talk about that today on Camp Town Hall.
Hey everybody, this is Caleb.
Hey, this is Kim.
And we're super excited that you are joining us again for Camp Town Hall. We're going to be talking a little bit about some of our favorite things. And in just a moment, we're going to be talking, I would say, probably one of my favorite things when I think about growing up, one of my favorite pastimes of growing up, because I was not a very athletic kid growing up.
Really?
And no, I know you can't tell by looking at me, but I was more of a fan of the visual arts, as it were. And so in a little bit, we're going to be talking about some of our favorite cartoons growing up and things about that.
The Saturday morning cartoon.
We're going to be learning some things about ourselves today. We're going to enlighten you on some things about us.
I am ready to be enlightened.
Well, before we do, let's enlighten them on a few, just maybe one fun fact about yourself that maybe that our listeners don't know about you.
Okay.
Something unique.
Something unique. Okay, it's not super unique because I know lots of people that do this too, but I do not like it when my food touches. Food needs to be separate and it needs to have its own area.
So that means like every green bean can't touch another green bean?
No, because green beans are all together.
Oh,
but green beans can't touch the mashed potatoes or the salad. It all needs to be cafeteria plates really are the way I should eat.
Well, that's funny because like earlier on, like, I don't know, what was it? About 5-6 years ago, maybe it was close to 10 years ago now. One time I found cafeteria plates and bought them for you. I got the Husband of the Year award for that.
Best gift ever, because I do not enjoy it when my food touches.
Yeah, well, that's not like the most unique thing about you. A lot of people, I would say, listening are like that. They're just like, I don't like my food to touch. I on the other hand, am very different in my food. I'm kind of the casserole kind of guy. Just throw it all together.
Yeah,
just
I don't
put
get
it all
that.
in there. Kind of like the KFC bowls. Remember the KFC bowls?
You made me watch the commercials. You were so
they were
excited.
so
you were
good.
screaming, come here, look at this.
Yes, they were like, this is my kind of thing.
It's
Let's just
nasty.
put everything together in one bowl and just eat it up. It's great. I think there's like Cracker Jacks on top of it all or something. I don't know. It was great.
It needs to not touch.
Okay. But that's not the most unique thing about the way you eat food. Because like I said, a lot of people probably do that. They separate their food. They're like that.
Are you thinking of a particular
I'm
thing?
thinking, yes, I even have a nickname for it. And it has to do with the way you eat your French fries.
Oh, come on.
And the term I use is she Noah's Arks her fries. And she'll explain why. And you'll be like, oh, yeah, I get it now. Noah's Ark. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, so the French fries need to be eaten.
Yes.
And I line them up according to size in pairs. So I line up all the big ones and then just kind of cascades.
Wait. You put your fries in twosies? Is that how you do it?
And they march to the barbecue sauce in twosies.
In twosies?
That's cute. But I equal dipping opportunity. It's very efficient. It's a very efficient way to eat fries.
I get it. I'm just like, if they're not the same length, I'm going to mash it down until both fries or the 4 or 5 fries all touched.
If there's an odd number, that fry will get folded in half.
So you fold the last fry in half.
Well,
or maybe the longest fry in half.
I try not to eat them until they're all matched up. Sometimes I get really excited because they're French fries. They're delicious.
Here's what I would encourage you, our friends listening, to do. Here's what I want you to do. When you're out at a fast food restaurant or you order fries wherever you are, I want you to just, while everybody's talking, while you're enjoying, you just pair out your fries. Pair them out and do the Noah's Arking with your fries and see what people think when they see you doing the same thing. And then, of course, let us know if you think it actually is a better way to eat fries. And, Kim may be starting a food eating revolution in the Noah's Arking of fries. You never know. I think that is worth exploring. So, if you do that and you maybe send a picture. You can send a picture through Instagram at Camptown Media and just show us how you're eating your fries. I think that would be quite funny, and I would imagine more people are probably like me. I may be wrong. I may be the odd one. I may be the weird.
You are odd.
I am odd. we're gonna delve into my oddness in a little bit.
But what's your fun fact, though?
A fun fact about me is that I eat fries like a normal person.
That is not fun.
I eat
It's a
my
fact.
food in like all in a big jumble. That's also pretty normal about me. I would say something maybe people that don't know about me is that I used to be a supermodel. And
Because you love the
it got-
visual arts so much as a child.
No,
That's
never-
a logical conclusion
never
that I'm sure
supermodel.
people connected immediately.
No, a fun fact about me was I used to live on an island, a tropical island in the South Pacific. Not everybody may know that.
That is cool.
My parents, when I was 16 years old, became missionaries to a little island in the South Pacific called American Samoa. Shout out to our listeners in American Samoa, if there are any. That'd be awesome.
That would be super
Maybe there will
cool.
be now because we're going to mention you. But I used to live there, and actually we both lived there at one time. And by the way, if you hear any noises that sound a little weird, that would be Waddles. She was napping, and she just got up.
Waddles has now joined today's podcast.
I think she wants out of the room, though. What's that, Waddles? Do you need out? All right, we're gonna take just a moment and let her out.
Pause for commercial break.
Now she's just standing at the door. That's how it's done.
I hope you-
We'll cut all that
I
out.
hope that was recorded.
I'm cutting all that out. And now we're back. Pig free. The pig has left the room. So anyway, as we were saying, I used to live in a little island in the South Pacific called American Samoa. My parents were missionaries there, and I lived there from age 16 to 19. And then after we got married, and even after we had our son Connor, we lived there for about 10 months. And so Kim has experienced it, and
It's a very cool island.
it's not cool at all because it's warm there, right?
It's beautiful.
It is a
It's a
beautiful
very
island.
beautiful island.
But the reason why I say it's not cool is because Kim and I have this kind of tension in our marriage as to where we would live. And if I had my choice, I would live in subtropical, warmer climates.
Nope.
And if Kim had her way,
I live in, Canada, Alaska, someplace far north where it snows and is cold.
oh, no, see, I could live in perpetual summer. So we're at an impasse on that. And occasionally, like if we take a trip to Florida for Disney or something, I gain a little bit of ground, and she will never gain ground on me. I'm never going to move to Alaska or Canada or anything like that. But until then, we're just stuck in the Midwest, and that's what we just do. We're in the middle. We get the best and worst of both worlds.
That's right.
So it's the compromise we've come up with, and it seems to work out. So those are some fun facts about us, and maybe in each episode we'll reveal some more fun facts about ourselves. But let's get on to the meat of the subject today. Let's get on to what we're here to talk about.
The Saturday morning cartoon.
That is one of my most favorite, cherished memories would be waking up, which is funny, waking up on Saturday earlier than I probably would wake up on a school day, ironically, going to the kitchen, getting the biggest bowl I could find, filling it full of sugary cereal, and then plopping myself down in front of the TV for a good solid 3 or 4 hours.
Now, see, my brother and I had a plan.
Yeah?
Like, we were stealthy. Because we knew if we could wake up and get to the cartoon watching before our parents woke up, we could get some time in before they would come out with the ultimate chore list.
Chores! Saturday morning chores. Yes.
So we tried to be as stealthy and quiet.
Mm-hmm.
We wouldn't even eat breakfast sometimes.
Oh.
Too noisy.
Yeah, I remember you were telling me that. You had a blanket that had little round circles on it, and you would pretend they were donuts and eat them or something like that
That's true.
while you were waiting.
Uh-huh.
So it was her donut blanket. Did it fill you up?
It seemed to work.
It's like psychologically it worked.
Psychologically, it worked. But
interesting.
yeah, we did not want the chores to interrupt the Saturday morning cartoon goodness.
I get that. Because Saturday morning cartoons, especially if you grew up in the 80s like we did, they were amazing. Now, I know every generation, like my dad would watch us watching cartoons and be like, man, your cartoons are horrible. Back in my day. No, he didn't sound like that. But back in his day,
A little bit he does.
he was a Looney Tunes kid. And I have to agree, Looney Tunes are some great, and they're still great today even. So he did have a point. And you and I have said the same thing about this generation's cartoons. We're just like, what is that? What are they even trying to communicate with that? But in the 80s, you've got to admit there were some great Saturday morning cartoons.
Now, there was one I didn't understand, though.
Okay.
Now, most cartoons on Saturday mornings, they had the 30-minute time spot. If it was
Yes.
a really great cartoon, it had an
Yes.
hour.
Yeah.
Why did the Smurfs have 90 minutes?
I honestly
90
don't know.
minutes.
There was something wrong with that. Yeah, because honestly, I would watch maybe a half hour at best and then move on. I could only stand.
I watched the whole 90 minutes because I didn't want to do the chores.
Oh no, I'd find another something else. I'd try to find another cartoon to watch. I get it. I mean, the Smurfs. It was a little weird, and I'm not sure what the appeal was because like. If you're a girl, like they only had one female character for a long
Smurfette.
time. I think finally they came out with a couple others.
I didn't enjoy Smurfette.
And so she was very kind of a stereotypical, almost like a type, not necessarily a genuine. And so it was almost like kind of like insulting, I would say.
I enjoyed Handy Smurf. I thought he was cool.
A Handy Smurf. Now, here's the thing. And this came up in conversation a while back, and it made me. I had to really work through this. This is one of those moments in our marriage when I'm just like, this is a rocky time.
Oh my word!
And it was when we were discussing our favorite cartoon characters, and honestly, with Smurfs, I didn't have a favorite. I thought they were all pretty much.
It's sort of hard to have a favorite, but there was one that stood out above the others.
Yeah, but the sad thing was, your favorite really, ironically, lined up with my least favorite Smurf on the entire planet. The Smurf that I thought, if this character wasn't even in there, that would even be a better hour and a half of my life. And what was that Smurf's name?
Brainy Smurf.
Brainy Smurf, the one he had glasses, right?
Yeah, of course
and like
he
Papa Smurf always says, and was like a know-it-all, a tattletale, a stick in the mud. And your favorite character was Brainy Smurf, and I was just like, oh, I'm gonna have to pray and work through this. Development in our marriage.
I'm not sure why I liked him the most. I think he just knew lots of stuff, and I always wanted to be the person that knew lots of stuff.
Well, he was a know-it-all, but I don't really think he knew lots of stuff. I just think
he was a bit tattleish, but there was appeal.
We're still working through this. We're still, but yeah, and then so it was an hour and a half long though, and I never got that. And then they thought, hey, you know what? An hour and a half of Smurfs just isn't enough. Let's do something very similar to Smurfs, so we can bring it up to basically another half hour of Smurf-like madness. And that was the Snorks. Yes, they were Smurfs with snorkels.
They were the underwater Smurfs.
The underwater Smurfs, and so essentially it was yet another half hour tacked on.
I didn't watch that though. I saw the commercials for it, but I think my brain was done after 90 minutes.
I think I watched one, and I was like, yeah, this is the Smurfs underwater.
The Smurfs underwater.
So, yeah, that was, I mean, they didn't have Gargamel.
But what? No, that's true. What cartoons did you watch?
Okay, so on Saturday mornings, I mean, there's a whole lineup of great things. I did actually watch Looney Tunes, because it was still showing in the 80s, right. And I did like Looney Tunes, and I enjoyed them. There were some really good ones, like I would have to say Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was probably one of my favorites. I mean, it was so amazing. It was like they were teenagers, which when you're young, that's what you look up to, those teenagers, I guess.
They were heroes in a half shell.
And they were turtles, which is like one of the planet's slowest creatures, yet they were ninjas. And so, I mean, what a mashup.
What a mashup. And they love pizza.
And of course, they love pizza.
Always a good thing.
Okay, now, while we're talking about our favorite characters.
Right.
So you like Brainy Smurf. What was your favorite Ninja Turtle? Now, I'm not talking about like Master Splinter or Bebop and Rocksteady. They were fun. Okay. But we're talking of the four.
Donatello.
Donatello was your favorite. Why?
He was the smart one.
He was the smart one.
His gadgets and he could solve problems.
Yeah.
He knew lots of stuff.
I had two kind of favorites. One of them was only because of the weapons. Raphael, I liked him. I kind of liked how he had kind of an attitude, but I liked him mainly because of the weapons. He had those sais, those were really cool.
Those were cool.
But my favorite probably was Michelangelo. You gotta like Michelangelo.
The troublemaker, the one that always got them into the problems.
The goofy one, the happy-go-lucky one, the one that was always having fun. Yeah. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
That seems to make
Cowabunga,
sense.
Dude. Yeah. So that would be who I would have said, yeah, I like that
Michelangelo.
guy. Okay, now here's one I know, and honestly, this one transcends like 3 or 4 decades now. But Scooby-Doo.
Oh, big fan.
Scooby-Doo.
Big fan of Scooby-Doo.
It has stood the test of time. and it, every episode, it's just going to be someone in a mask. Until lately, I guess now the newer ones, they're kind of getting a little weird, and they're actually having other things happen. But basically, growing up,
classic Scooby-Doo, always a man in a mask.
always a man in a mask.
But I didn't like Scrappy.
I don't know if anybody on the planet really liked Scrappy. And if they did, they might have had anger issues or something they were trying to work through. Because he seemed to have anger issues. He's just constantly wanting to pick a fight. And
I was happier when
he
was
definitely had
gone.
that Napoleon complex
True.
where he was like, I'm little, but I can take on the world. And not really a character you'd want to emulate. But
No.
who was your favorite character?
Oh, Velma.
Velma.
Let's go, Velma.
Yeah, Velma is definitely your favorite. In fact, you have a Funko Pop of Velma on your desk.
I do.
You don't have any other Scooby-Doos, but you have
I have
Velma,
Velma.
on your desk. And why Velma?
She was the smart one.
She was the smart one.
Well, okay, because there is so much about Scooby-Doo that, Shaggy and Scooby are freaking out at the, the monster or the
Right.
ghost or
Right.
whatever thing is happening.
Right.
And, and Fred's always wanting to, split up and look for clues, but Velma was the glue that kind of logically kept them all together, kept them grounded. And in the pup named Scooby-Doo, she always had that supercomputer that popped out of a briefcase.
Yeah, what was that all about?
That was super cool.
Okay.
So I just liked Velma because she was able to put all the stuff together and solve the mystery and
Right.
unmask,
Right.
the
bad
old
guy.
man.
Old Man Smithers. Or
Smithers.
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, my
So
favorite.
who was yours?
You know who?
I know it is.
Shaggy, of course. Why wouldn't it be Shaggy? First of all, he had a great appetite.
And as a kid who was,
Yeah.
a fan of the visual art,
A fan of the visual arts.
could relate to that.
Yeah, he was so goofy and so funny, and like all the great jokes were around Shaggy. If you wanted to laugh, you're not going to see a lot of laughter when it comes to Velma. I mean, her big bit was, "I can't see without my glasses." That was what
That's
she was.
important.
That was her catchphrase. But then you got Zoinks. You've got Shaggy, and he like sets the tone for the whole team, makes it funny. So really, I have to say, yeah, because he's the goofy, funny one. So hands down, have to be
Okay.
Shaggy. So all right, we got a list. What else? What other great Saturday morning? Some of these aren't Saturday morning necessarily, but they're still really good. What do we got?
I like Garfield and Friends.
Garfield and Friends was good. Let me guess. Your favorite was Nermal.
No,
Oh,
I
okay,
did not
good.
like Normal.
You're
I
not
liked
supposed to like
Garfield.
Normal.
I am just a solid Garfield, doesn't like Mondays,
Yeah.
eats all the lasagna. I can really get behind that.
I think Garfield.
Now, his mistreatment of Odie, though,
Nothing.
I'm a dog person.
Be nice to the dogs.
Yeah. That was a hard thing to overcome because I did like Odie, but Garfield, I liked his snarky, his wit.
You know what one I really enjoyed, and it was because I think, even though I'm a fan of the visual arts, as we've said, I also enjoy using my imagination. And this cartoon talked about that. It modeled that, how we can, have great adventures, whether we stay at home or leave and go travel and have great adventures. But that would be Muppet Babies.
Oh, right.
Muppet Babies were great because, first of all, I'm a fan of Henson. I'm just a huge Jim Henson fan. Whether that's Sesame Street, The Muppets,
You have all
Fraggle
those
Rock.
Sesame Street socks.
Yeah, I have Sesame Street socks. I have
Gonzo the Great.
Gonzo, yeah, I have Gonzo the Great socks. I have my Funko Pop is Grover, Super Grover. So obviously he's a
Love
Muppet.
Super Grover.
And so I'm a big fan of Jim Henson and all those. And so I really loved it whenever we got to see the Muppet Babies because it was like a cartoon, so they could do more with it. You could have all sorts of adventures, and the kids would open up a door, and all of a sudden the train would start racing towards
That
them,
is
things like
cool.
that. So their imagination was great, and I loved that they were able to use their imagination. And of course, my favorite Muppet character would have been Gonzo because
he's the goofy
he's
one.
the goofy one, and he's silly and all that. So, and I have a guess as to who your favorite Muppet would be.
Scooter.
Well, okay, Scooter, yeah. And so like Scooter is like he was like this
Love
afterthought type of character.
Oh man.
And even
Scooter's so good.
because he was
The smart one.
the smart one. And so they even brought his sister along, right? So
Skeeter.
Scooter and Skeeter. Whenever I'd watch the Muppet Show, I'd be like, why do they even have Scooter?
Where'd Skeeter go?
Well, I was like, why do they even have Scooter?
Oh,
and
no,
now
no.
they're adding another one just like him. And so you were probably really excited to have
I did enjoy.
Scooter and Skeeter.
I did enjoy Scooter. Actually, I bought a pair of green and white striped socks just because I liked nannies so much.
Nanny socks. Yeah. That's interesting. I did not.
So, do you know another cartoon that I very much enjoyed that I would always gravitate towards the smart one?
What's that?
Alvin and the Chipmunks.
Alvin and the Chipmunks.
I'm
Oh,
a big fan of Simon.
Simon, yeah. Well, okay, we're going to move on from there.
No. We're gonna
What?
stop
We
here.
talked about it. We liked it. It was great. It was awesome.
No. I think it's time for you to bring out another fun fact about Caleb.
Okay, so we tried to steer away from this one. That one is not even on the list.
I know it.
Okay.
I wrote it in.
So, yes, I loved Alvin the Chipmunk growing up. When I was in first grade, I was a huge fan. I was like every day watched it. That was, I think, maybe even when it was on like every day. You know how sometimes cartoons
after school.
you'd get blessed with the everyday after school cartoons.
Yep.
And so we'd watch Alvin and the Chipmunks every day. And of course, Alvin would be my favorite on that one, I would have to say. Instead of like, I mean, there wasn't really a super goofy character. Like Theodore wasn't really goofy.
No, but he
was
really
weird.
enjoyed the food.
He liked the food. But yeah, I was a fan of Alvin though, because like Alvin was cool. He was like the cool chipmunk. And so, yeah, so that was it. Moving on.
No. There's more.
So when I was a kid, I asked my parents what kind of process, legal process I would have to go through if I wanted to change my name to another name. And apparently they're like, well, what's wrong with Caleb? He's like, oh, there's nothing wrong with that. I just was wanting to know if I could change my name to Alvin because I like that chipmunk. Yeah, yuck it up. When I was a kid, I wanted to change my name to Alvin because I liked Alvin and the Chipmunks a whole bunch. Now can we move on,
We
please?
can move on. Now, I very much enjoyed Alvin and the Chipmunks. I did not enjoy so much the Chipettes.
Okay, that's interesting. You didn't enjoy the Chipettes. You didn't enjoy Smurfette. It's almost like you were anti-cartoon girl, except you like Velma, so that was good. Yeah. All right, I guess, but it's just weird. You're just not a fan of like. I guess you don't like to break the molds, right? You like to keep it.
I don't know.
So what was wrong with the Chipettes? Is it because they were just too much like the Chipmunks? Is like why even have them?
Yeah, it was like you had a good thing going. Why bring 3 more chipmunks along?
Okay, I get that. I thought they were fine. I had no problem.
They were
with them.
okay. They were not needed. Alvin and the Chipmunks were fine on their own.
Yeah.
So they were.
All right.
They did not need sidekicks.
All right. How about I'm gonna make it a little easier on our picking our favorite. We're gonna narrow it down to just 2. One of my favorite cartoons growing up was a little show called Pinky and the Brain.
Dun dun dun.
Loved Pinky and the Brain. Loved it because it was just 2 characters, and their goal every episode was
to try to take over the world.
That's right. Try and take over the world. And there were 2 characters, obviously Pinky and the Brain. Now, I'm going to take a stab at your favorite. Would your favorite character in Pinky and the Brain have to be the Brain?
Of course.
And can you guess what my favorite would be?
Pinky!
Yeah, that's right. Pinky would have been my favorite just because he was goofy and silly and carefree. I like the carefreeness a lot of those characters. It's just, things didn't bother them. They just had fun. They didn't worry what other people thought. So that was kind of what I liked about them. So that was an easy one. Okay, what about, I know one of your favorites besides Scooby-Doo was the Flintstones.
I did enjoy the Flintstones.
I like the Flintstones a lot. Who was your favorite?
I didn't have one.
You didn't have a favorite?
I didn't
I would
have
have to say
favorite
Barney was
Flintstone.
my favorite. Again, kind of, carefree and goofy. So, but Flintstones was great, and it had a long run. Obviously, that didn't even start in the 80s when we were watching it. But then they had a spinoff.
The Jetsons.
The Jetsons, which I would say if I picked between the Flintstones and Jetsons, I would have to say I like the Jetsons more.
I liked the Jetsons more, but I did appreciate some of the the spin of technology in the Flintstones. So like the garbage disposal, they had one. It was just a little dinosaur. So
and if you needed a shower, a woolly mammoth.
So I thought the creativity of bringing technology into the Stone Age.
I like that. Yeah, that's good.
I thought that was pretty cool. But I did like the Jetsons more, and I did have a favorite from the Jetsons.
See, I didn't really have a favorite on those. I just enjoyed the whole show. It was fun. But who was your favorite on?
Elroy.
Wait, wasn't he the smart kid?
He was. I don't know. I don't know if he was the smart kid. I just
think
very
he was
much
smarter. Yeah.
Enjoyed Elroy, and I liked his relationship with Astro because I'm a huge fan of dogs.
And Astro was a lot like Scooby-Doo. Yeah, I mean, talked like Scooby-Doo. Pretty much, I think it was the same voice. Might have even been the same voice actor. I mean, pretty much just sounded like Scooby-Doo.
It's very heartwarming.
Yeah.
Astro.
Yeah, Astro. So those were some really good ones. And, before we started recording, we got on the internet. And, of course, whenever you think about, like, personality types, and I want to do a show about personality types at some point, but whenever you think about personality types and all that, there's usually a quiz on the internet about it. And I would have to say that I was really pleased with my answer.
I want to do a podcast about strange things that people type into Google.
Yeah.
Because you typed a strange thing into Google. I was just like,
what cartoon character am I? And so, of course, it brought up a website. I think it's called BuzzPlay. Or PlayBuzz, something like that. And so it has this quiz. And I don't know anything about PlayBuzz, so I can't, recommend one way or another. But it was just the first thing that Google brought up as to what, a quiz I could take to find out what kind of character I was. And you know how they go. The quizzes all have these, what is your favorite whatever? What do you like? So this one had, like, favorite ice cream flavor, seasons, things like that.
Yeah.
And it had some random ones. It had a picture. It had, like, a bunch of pictures and, like, what is your favorite picture? And I was like, none of them.
They all looked like quilts. They were pretty much the same.
So, and it had to, and then it processed that, and then it would give you your personality type based on a cartoon character. So what cartoon character are you most like? And so I loved mine. I felt like mine was spot on. SpongeBob SquarePants. That's right. SpongeBob SquarePants was my character personality, which makes sense because when you think about all the characters I liked growing up, it was always those goofy, silly ones. And Kim, you took it right after that.
I did take it.
And yours was a great outcome. What was yours?
I got Daria from Beavis and Butthead.
Well, she had her own show too.
But
to be
she
fair.
Originated on
your least favorite cartoon on the planet, Beavis and Butthead.
Beavis and Butthead and SpongeBob are really close in the ranking.
You can't do that. But it was just funny. But Daria was the one who basically was like the anti-Beavis and Butthead. She was the stick in the mud. She was the the one who was kind of pretty much negative about everything. And so and then she ended up with her own show, and she did. Yeah, the title character from her own show, and she
never watched it.
I wasn't either,
her own show.
But I'm sure she was equally pleasant. So that was interesting that you got that. I just think that.
But I'm not Daria in real life.
No, not at all. But I think it was interesting that your favorite cartoon character, you always gravitated towards the smart one, the intelligent one, and then I think, well, no wonder you married me. I mean, that just makes a lot of sense.
Because you're SpongeBob SquarePants, who wants to change their name to Alvin.
So apparently, it's not.
It's not foolproof.
You didn't grab. Maybe you were just gravitating to who you're more like because you're a very smart person. You're very intelligent, and so you were just like you identified more with them, and that's why. And me, I identified obviously with the goofballs, and didn't. But now let me ask you this though. There's a ton of great cartoon universes out there,
right?
Everything from the Jetsons to He-Man, which we didn't even talk about He-Man.
I did enjoy He-Man.
He-Man was crazy cool. Great universe on He-Man. If you had a choice to live in whatever universe you wanted to, like cartoon universe, what one would you pick to live in?
The Turtles would be cool because there's always a never-ending pizza supply, so that would be.
Yeah, but the Turtles, if you were just a normal person living in, it's just normal world.
It's not a great world.
Right.
I would have to say Scooby-Doo.
Scooby-Doo, where just everything's a rubber mask.
Well, the talking dog.
Yeah, I guess that's true. You do get a dog that talks.
Enjoy the talking dog.
They eat a lot too.
Never-ending supply of something that Shaggy and Scooby
Giant
put together.
sandwiches that you can eat in one bite.
Yeah, but
And then a turkey leg that you can just eat the entire meat off of it.
there's always stuff going on. There's adventure, so it's
Yeah.
never like just a usual day at the
Okay,
office.
I get that.
It's fun. If I didn't pick Scooby Doo, I'd probably live in the world of Chip and Dale's Rescue Rangers.
That was a good. We didn't even get to those.
I'm-
Disney had a great bunch of
So good.
after school cartoons. The Rescue Rangers, DuckTales, Tailspin, Gummy
Yeah.
Bears. All those. They had a bunch.
I liked that Chip and Dale were heroes and,
Yeah.
and would save the day.
That was cool. That was
So-
cool. It's a good one.
I'd like to talk to animals.
That'd be cool. All right, if I had to live in my own cartoon universe, He-Man would be fun. It would be, although it's kind of a rough universe. I mean,
Seemed hard.
there's a literally talking, walking skeleton running around,
Yeah.
trying to take over the world. Maybe I'd do Pinky and the Brain if I could be one of those.
Because then you could
characters.
take over the world
Then I
every
could try
day.
to take over the world, and I'd be a talking mouse. How cool would that be? Who apparently have no problem getting out of their cage every time.
No.
So, no, actually, I'd probably pick Muppet Babies again. I'd live in that world, to where like your imagination comes to life, and Muppets are your friends and all that.
So let me ask you this. So in the cartoons, did you usually cheer for the title character? So if it was, Garfield and Friends, you rooted for Garfield. Did you always kind of cheer for the hero in cartoons?
Well, yeah, I mean, usually I think that was the whole object. It wasn't like I was like, yay, maybe Gargamel. Maybe that, because after an hour and a half of Smurfs, you're just like, yeah, maybe he should just eat all
Maybe
those
he should
Smurfs.
just
That'll
get them
end
all.
this hour and a half of me watching. No, I usually cheered for the character, like Transformers. I'd cheer for the Autobots and all that.
Yeah.
G.I. Joe, I'd cheer for Joe. Go Joe, all that.
There was one cartoon that I would watch that I would always cheer for the bad guy.
Whoa.
And I felt a little weird doing it, but the hero, the title character, was always so bumbling and
Okay.
silly that I just couldn't handle it.
Okay, let's hear it.
Inspector Gadget.
Oh, Inspector Gadget, yeah.
I wanted Dr. Claw to win. He was so methodical and he planned everything out, and he was foiled by Inspector Gadget.
Yeah, Inspector Gadget didn't deserve the win, that's for sure. He usually didn't get the win either.
No,
It was
his
like his
niece,
niece,
Penny.
Penny, that would get it. No, my issue with Inspector Gadget was different. Mine was more from a scientific and biological perspective, because I'm like, when he says go Gadget neck, he pretty much is decapitating himself. How is he not dead? I mean, it's like, what did they do to him to where he can survive that kind of decapitation every day?
You thought way too much about that.
I did. It bothered me. The whole the fact that he could pop his head. I mean, it obviously never came completely off, but it was enough removed from his body. It was like 18 feet up in the air or something, and you're just like, that. People don't survive that. So I got a little too much into the actual scientific reasoning why I didn't like that on that one. It was weird. But I did think it'd be cool to be able to have a helicopter pop out of your head, where you can fly around.
His gadgets were cool, but
You're right. He did not deserve the win.
He didn't deserve it.
To be honest, he probably rarely got the win. It was more Penny that got the win, but he seemed to be the one that got the title character. Maybe it should have been The Adventures of Penny and her ridiculously mechanical uncle inspector. Might have been too long of a title.
I don't think kids it wouldn't have had the same flair.
Yeah.
But we want to know what your favorite cartoon is. So
Yeah.
you can hit us up on social media.
Yeah, let us know what your favorite. Maybe we missed one. Maybe we missed your favorite. I know one of yours that we didn't talk about was Kissy Fur. You remember Kissy
yeah,
Fur?
I remember Kissy Fur.
That was a great one. There's a lot of bear cartoons.
There's so many good cartoons.
There's like Kissy Fur, and then Tailspin, and then Gummy Bears, and then Care Bears. There's tons of bears in cartoons.
Yeah.
Back in the day. Hey, you know what? Maybe we'll have a bear cartoon. Maybe Camp Bear.
Camp Bear will travel.
Maybe Camp Bear will have his adventures and things like that. Maybe, who knows? But yeah, we would like to find out. And then you hit our website, check it out, because we're going to put a little poll on there between our two favorites. My favorite being Muppet Babies, awesome.
That's good.
And then,
My favorite is Scooby-Doo.
and so we're going to see out of those two, just which of those two you like more. Which would, if you had to choose between just our two favorites, who do you side with? Scooby-Doo, where the villain is always wearing a mask,
Oh, come
or
on.
Muppet Babies, where your imagination is unlimited and your nanny wears weird socks, but you never see her face. So, but you get to pick. And no, I would have to say it'd be hard for me even. I love Scooby-Doo. I'm a lifelong Scooby-Doo fan. But I just, something about Muppet Babies I like a lot.
We want to know what you think. So go to camptownmedia.com. Give us a quick vote. We cannot wait to see what you think.
And maybe if you are hitting us up on social media, you could tell us, you could take a cartoon quiz. Tell us what character you are most like too, and whether or not you agree with that. Because I don't agree with the Daria thing on Kim. I'm going to be honest. I don't agree that she's a lot like Daria. Now, Velma, I would say Velma. Because you've been, like, for the last week and a half solid, tapping on a computer, getting our website up and running. And
I'm going to go buy an orange skirt and a turtleneck sweater.
Orange turtleneck, and then get some glasses that you can't see without. I think we've talked this subject into the ground, but we'd love to hear from you and see what your thoughts are. So hit us up on social media, visit our website, and until next time, we'll see you later, and we hope you have a great week.
See ya. Bye-bye.